Okay. Can you guys hear me? You should be able to. I'm listening to A State of Trance 2004 while we're doing this, which was like the best Armin van Buuren album ever. What in the heck? Does this say an error for anybody else? I sound beautiful today. Well, that's fantastic. Okay. For some reason, the video was telling me, like, it gave me that error saying the video couldn't be loaded, and I was getting ready to ask if it was the same for everybody else, but from what I can tell, there's not a problem here, so awesome. Um, yeah, anyway, I'm listening to A State of Trance 2004. I mean, that was my jam back in the day, so I'm pretty excited. But anyway, so what's going on, guys? How's your all's morning coming along? Nobody's really saying anything yet. I guess people are kind of trickling in here. I mean, it's 8:30 in the morning, so I don't know how many people will actually showing up to this live stream at all, but I guess we'll find out here in a minute. So before we get started with this whole thing, oh wow, people are showing up now. Before we get started with this whole thing, the first thing I want to do is I want to say thank you to you guys for being so supportive with the whole Draw My Life thing. Like that to get on YouTube and to open myself up like that is actually a really big step for me. Like I'm very outgoing in terms of personality and meeting people, but I'm very guarded in terms of my past and what life was like for me when I was younger, and rightfully so, I think, with a lot of the content that I put in there. But it was kind of a big thing. So especially when you're talking about a platform like YouTube, where people will just get on and just throw their misery onto everybody else. So, but I appreciate your all support. The other thing is, before we started, I'm actually looking at building a PC, and I don't know how many of you guys are knowledgeable about building PCs, but I'm wanting to build something that's future proof. And so here's what I'm thinking about getting so far. All right, what I want to get, and we'll start the whole Q and A. Well, actually, I'll just kind of wait for your questions to trickle in before. I'll wait for a decent amount of questions before I jump into it. But anyway, so here's what I'm thinking so far about this PC. I'm going to iBuy Power. That way I can just say here, like, make sure all this stuff works together. And I don't know if they'll assemble it for you, but anyway, so here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a i7 5960X. It's only 3 gigahertz, but it's got 8 cores. Now I'm on the fence about which one's better. 6 cores at 3.3 gigahertz or 8 cores at 3.0 gigahertz, but it's overclockable. And so I might be able to overclock it to 4 gigahertz. And so 8 cores hyper threaded at 4 gigahertz is beastly fast. Like, that's just stupid how fast that would be. I'm probably going to get a Corsair Hydro Series H60 liquid CPU cooling system. Um, I'm going to get 32 gigabytes of G-Skill Ripjaws 4 RAM running at 2800 megahertz. I'm probably going to get a GTX Titan X, which is a 12 gigabyte graphics card. And then after that, like, I haven't gotten everything else yet, but I'll probably get a MSI graphics card. Requires a motherboard with support for 8 memory slots. Oh, I picked 8. Let's see. I want 4 8 gigabyte cards. Yeah, 4 gigabyte times 8. That's not what I want. Well, yeah, I guess I better pick one that has has 8 slots. I don't know. Anyway, um, yeah, there's one that has 8 slots. But nonetheless, I'm just kind of poking around at creating a computer. But Yeah, see, I think 8 cores is better than 6 cores too. Just because I can do more, but nonetheless, I forgot that it was actually showing that information on the screen. So anyway, so let's go ahead and jump into this Q&A session. Um, okay, let's scroll up a little bit. Um, just failing my coursework. Oh, don't fail your coursework, man. Like study if you need to. Let's see, Rob, did you see the YouTube channel Bat in the Sun? They did Red Hood versus Punisher fan film. No, but I'll definitely check it out. That sounds pretty awesome. Um, if I stream it, they will come. Yeah, I agree. They'll show up eventually. I mean, again, it's pretty early. It's 8:30 in the morning on the East Coast. So on the West Coast, it's like 5:30 in the morning. So we'll see what happens. But let's see. Are there any cool comics I can read without having to know all the source material? Please answer. Well, it depends on what you like. If you're a fan of DC Comics, you could really just read the origins of characters in New 52 and then just kind of go from there. With Convergence right now, this is the beautiful thing about Convergence is you can just kind of jump in. The problem, well, I guess it's kind of good and bad. Convergence gives you a return to pre-Flashpoint characters. The problem is we don't know exactly where they fall in terms of continuity. We don't know if, for example, the Batman in Gotham City falls between, I guess, Final Crisis and Flashpoint. We don't know if the Batman in Gotham City falls between the Crisis on Infinite Earths and Infinite Crisis. You know, we don't really know a lot of these things. And so it's kind of complicated. Now, those characters have a lot of backstory. But if you're wanting to read on like the current run of Batman, then just start with New 52 and then just kind of pick and choose where you want to go from there. The only downside to that is like Scott Snyder's run, for example. Scott Snyder's run is covered with Batman Zero Year, which is basically the origin story of how Bruce Wayne became Batman, which we've covered here. There's Batman Court of the Owls, there's Batman Night of the Owls, and then there's Batman Death of the Family, and then Endgame. And so that kind of wraps all up into Scott Snyder's thing. But nonetheless, I mean, that, is pretty much you can just kind of jump into and go from there. Marvel's a different story. Marvel's much tougher. Unless you're talking about a new character, you're really not going to be able to get away with that just because they haven't had any character reboots in a long time. Marvel Now was just kind of saying, here's a refresh for characters that are going to be changing faces, but Carol Danvers still has a 60-year history in Marvel Comics. There's really no getting away from that. Just because she's Captain Marvel doesn't mean she's a totally new person. Doesn't mean that everything's changed. It means that she's just Captain Marvel now. She's just taken a different name. And so it's really kind of tough to do that with Marvel Comics. That's why I have Marvel Explained, to cover all that stuff so you can just jump into the character at some point in time in the future and know everything you need to know in order for it to make sense. Let's see. Any plans to do Inhumans? I've already covered the Inhumans. That video has like 100-something thousand views. Let's see. If I plan to listen to a discography, would I rather listen to Justin Bieber's or Nicki Minaj? I wouldn't. I'd rather not listen to either. I don't like either one of them. You have the perfect voice to listen to as a podcast. I appreciate it. I hear that all the time. Let's see. What do I think of Convergence this week? In truth, I've already lost interest. To be honest with you, I read the first issues, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Superman is the one that I need to read. I actually hadn't read that one yet. I need to catch up on Superman, Flash, and I think the Titans was the other one. But there's only like a couple of them that I care about. Everything else, I'm just kind of like, meh. Not really worried about that. And I don't really think that DC cares that much about it. I think DC is just throwing it out as filler stuff just to kind of appease older fans. This is like a last hurrah. And I think after that, they're like, that stuff's gone. But they might bring some of it back. I think it just kind of depends. I mean, at the end of the day, they're in it to make money. And so if having Silver Age Superman is going to make money, or I guess having pre-Flashpoint Superman is going to make money, they're going to bring him back in his own stories. So we'll see what happens. Let's see. I was kind of unenthused with the Batman versus Superman trailer, Rob. What do you think? I haven't seen it yet. I want to do a reaction to it. I'm just not 100% sure if, as far as I can tell, like I actually tried to upload it as an unlisted video yesterday, and it had copyright protection. It flagged it, said it was third-party content, and so I was like, okay, well that's not going to work. So I ended up just not worrying about it. But I may do a reaction video minus the actual trailer itself. I guess we'll just kind of figure that out. Did I happen to go to the Age of Ultron premiere? No, I didn't. I was not able to make it to the Age of Ultron premiere. I would have loved to, but no, I wasn't able to make it. Um, let's see. Did I see the Riddler question mark in the Batman vs Superman trailer? No, I didn't. But thanks for ruining it for me. I'm messing around. Um, let's see. How would I introduce Spider-Man into the next phase of Marvel films? Well, obviously starting with Civil War. Civil War is the best way to go to introduce Spider-Man into the cinematic universe. Um, I think that see, this is kind of a kicker with Spider-Man. Spider-Man was so significant to the Civil War conflict in the comics because he had kept his identity like guarded so jealously. And so when he came out and revealed to the world willingly that he was Spider-Man, and there was really no turning back from that, at least as far, I guess, up until we got one more day, then that was it. I mean, everybody knew that Spider-Man was Peter Parker. That's what it was a big deal. But it was also a big deal because in the realm of comics, in terms of continuity, it gave credence, it gave legitimacy to Iron Man's claim that superheroes who come forward and reveal their identities will be protected. And so as a result, it was a huge moment in the comics. There's no reason, like, people can't identify with that. People who go into the audience or go into Civil War and see Spider-Man, they're just going to say, okay, cool, Spider-Man, yeah, this is awesome. And that's all they're going to care about. They're not going to understand the significance behind him revealing his identity, which maybe Marvel's counting on that. Maybe they're just kind of hoping that that won't really matter that much, and they'll just say, well, I mean, in the other movies, he kept his identity guarded so well, so I guess this is kind of the same thing, and they'll just go from there. I'm not really sure. Do I plan on covering Justice League of America Tower of Babel? I would love to. But the problem with covering a lot of those older stories in DC right now is they're just not relevant. People are looking at New 52, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to go back and cover stories that nobody's really reading anymore. But it was a great story. I mean, the idea of Ra's al Ghul stealing I guess, the weaknesses of all the members of the Justice League from Batman's confidential files was a great concept. It was a great story. I would love to keep that going. At least I think it was Ra's al Ghul. I'd love to keep that going, but the problem is, you know, I'm kind of picking and choosing what I want to do with Convergence. I'll cover the Convergence event once it ends, but in truth, like right now, probably for the next couple weeks or so, we're going to be covering Time Runs Out. We're going to be focusing on Marvel, so we can jump directly into Secret Wars and then do Convergence and Secret Wars at the same time. Let's see. Do I think the One Above All will appear in the end of Secret Wars in the middle of all the chaos and just restart everything? I don't think so. I think Marvel may have forgotten about him, to be honest. I mean, he's only appeared 17 times, he's only appeared or been mentioned a total of 17 times in the history of Marvel's entire continuity. They may have forgotten about him. They just may not care. They may say not enough fans know who he is. It's just not really relevant. I'm not 100% sure. I think that I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the One Above All just come out and say, okay, this has gone far enough, and just phase the Beyonders out of existence, say you guys are gone. Let's just go ahead and fix everything. But then the question fans would have if that happened is, why doesn't the One Above All just set everything back to the way it was before? And so, yeah, I imagine they'll probably just not introduce that concept into the comics. But I guess we'll see. We'll find out what happens. I'm really excited just as much as anybody else. I think that in 10 days, I think it is, New Avengers, the final issue of New Avengers, and Avengers comes out. And so I'm very, very psyched to see how it all plays out. Where's your coffee, Rob, huh? My coffee's right here. Makes no sense, but do I think the Joker will be in a movie? I certainly hope so. And I really want to see, old school Joker. The one that we saw in the Christopher Nolan trilogy was a great throwback to the older Joker, but I think that where Heath Ledger had a great control of the psychotic nature of the character, I don't think he was humorous. I don't think he was as funny as the Joker could be. The Joker was funny, but Heath Ledger's was more of like a dark humor. Like, I'm laughing because it's screwed up, not because I really think it's funny. The Joker would laugh because he really thought it was funny to murder people. Like, he thought it was hilarious. It was just this great joke that he would always go on with. I love that element. And so, what's going on, Paul Jones? And so, and Impact Player, what's going on? I think that element of the Joker was a great aspect to his character. And so I would love to see I guess, not really the Steve Englehart Joker because he was just kind of well, I guess maybe that's Steve Englehart Joker. See, for those of you guys that didn't get a chance to see my Joker explained video, the Steve Englehart Joker is the Joker from Batman the Animated Series. But the difference is that in Batman the Animated Series, which I actually didn't realize, Sal had pointed this out during one of our podcasts. He had talked about how they really had to go back and edit the scripts and adjust things. And I recognize they couldn't kill people in the show, but that Steve Englehart version of the Joker was sadistic but comedic at the same time. And so that would be the perfect Joker to have. The question is, could they actually go along with it? And I'm not really sure. I'd love to see that kind of Joker in a movie, though. Um, how do I think Marvel will kill off Doctor Doom in Secret Wars because of Fox's Fantastic Four movie? I'm not really sure. With Doctor Doom, I actually have no idea where they're going to go with him. I have no earthly clue what they're going to do with his character. Um, I would love to see Doctor Doom continue on, like past Secret Wars. I would love to see him as like to basically like usurp the role of the one above all. To say like I am the absolute authority of power in this new Marvel multiverse or this new Marvel universe of Battleworld. I would love to see that. Like that would be amazing. Like Doctor Doom running the show, that would be awesome. But chances are they probably are going to kill him and kind of leave it at that, which is a shame because I think that Doctor Doom's one of the best villains of all time. But again, we don't really know. We're not 100% sure yet. He could stay. He could just kind of give up all his power and just sort of walk away. It could be that he just did something and started the incursions in the first place. We don't exactly know what he did or if he even did anything that started this because remember, there's like the Beyonders and all that kind of stuff. So, um, what am I giving away? I'm giving away the Civil War Omnibus. I actually don't have it here. I'm just going to order it on Amazon and have it shipped to the address of the winner. I had done a giveaway for when I was doing the Daredevil Netflix stream to Maurice, this guy named Maurice, and I didn't see like a message from him. But the problem is that like I get hundreds of messages, and they just simply get sent to the spam folder, and so I probably just should have just told him to send me an email. So Maurice, if you see this, send me an email, rob@marvelexplained.com, and I'll just send you out a copy, and then whoever I win, or whoever wins I guess whoever I choose today will also get a copy of the Civil War Omnibus. That way you'll have the entire collection of Civil War in a single reading order. Oh, man. I'm not going to chug my coffee. That's silly. Could Scarlet Witch be in Doctor Strange and fit well? It depends on the character that we're going to see in the movies. The character that we're going to see in the movies, at least as far as I understand it from what Scarlett Johansson had said, there's a lot of psychological twists. And so my thought is, what's on the coffee cup? On the coffee cup, it says engineered products. It's an engineering coffee cup. But nonetheless, I think that with man, it's kind of hard to explain here. Um, I had to sell your Civil War books. That sucks. Um, Scarlett Johansson said there's going to be all kinds of psychological twists in the movie, and so I'm really hoping that the Scarlet Witch we get is going to demonstrate like a level of insanity. I'm hoping by the time the movie comes to an end, her power is going to run away with her, and she's basically going to be losing her mind. But I'm not 100% sure if we're going to see that or not. It's really kind of depends. If we're going to see like her actually using magic, if that's going to be the introduction here, that she's basically tapping into magic, and she's on the same level as Doctor Strange, she'd be a great fit. But if they say that all she's doing is just manipulating chemicals in the brain, well, I'm not going to be. I wouldn't expect to see her tied in with Doctor Strange in any real form or fashion. No vaping yet. I've actually been vaping off and on. I got a new mod, so this thing's really cool. It's oak. It's oak and brass. It's Camry 100. How long is this live stream? It's usually about an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer. So you are awesome, Rob. Alicia, I appreciate it. How do I win her to the Emmy? You don't enter anything. I'll just go through here and just randomly pick a person. What do I think about Ant-Man in the MCU and how they look like they're going for a really comedic movie? See, I'm on the fence about that. I think you're right. I think they're going for a comedic movie. I think what they're doing is they're looking at Guardians of the Galaxy. And granted, this movie was planned long before Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they said they had intentions to do Ant-Man a long time ago. But I think that with Ant Man, they're hoping for kind of Guardians of the Galaxy sort of thing, where it'll come out of left field, and it'll provide this measure of comedic relief, which is a great idea because if you guys have read Marvel Now's Ant Man I guess Ant Man solo series following Scott Lang, it's hilarious and it's extremely well written. Like it's a great series, a great run, and I think they're going to cancel it, which sucks. But I don't think it's performing very well. It's just one of those like small niche groups which I'm in, but it's really really cool. But that version of Scott Lang, I think, is the kind of version we're going to see in the movies. And if we are, that's going to be great. He's going to be a great comedic relief. The downside is, I think a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to say, "Oh, this is just a spin-off of Guardians of the Galaxy." I'm just going to kind of dismiss it that way. But I have a feeling this movie is going to fall in line with the Incredible Hulk, where people are going to say, "Yes, it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's not one of the cool kids." You know, they're not going to look at it as part of the cool kids. They're going to say it's just kind of out there in left field because, I mean, even I forget from time to time that the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sometimes I forget because we haven't heard word one about the Incredible Hulk in a solo capacity since that movie, and so it's kind of difficult to keep that in mind. But do I think Batman and Lex Luthor will fight in the Batman versus Superman movie? I really hope not. I really hope that Lex Luthor is just kind of there and they're like, yes, he's a mainstay. Hopefully, like there's some backstory between the two of them. There's going to be some conflict. To pick Jesse Eisenberg to play the role, I think it's Jesse Eisenberg to play the role of Lex Luthor. I think it's a great choice. He's a great actor. He's good in pretty much everything he does. But the movie's called Batman versus Superman. It's not called Batman versus Lex Luthor with Superman appearing in the film. Like. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do. My biggest fear is that with Lex Luthor in there, but the movie having an emphasis on Batman versus Superman, they're going to try to cram too much stuff in there. And so we're going to have Batman fighting Lex Luthor, and then Superman's going to show up, then Batman's going to fight Superman, and then it's going to be this total bunch of nonsense. But I will say this: Henry Cavill, I think, did a pretty decent job acting out the role of Superman. I think I said Spider-Man before. He did a pretty good job of acting out the role in Superman in Man of Steel. Of course, Ben Affleck, I think, is a fantastic actor. I think he just gets bad roles, and Daredevil, whatever. For every movie in his repertoire, like Daredevil, there's The Town, there's Good Will Hunting, there's Argo. I mean, there's movies like that prove he's an extremely talented actor. I mean, Gone Girl, movies like that. Like Ben Affleck knows what he's doing when he's given a good role, when he's given a good script. He can play one hell of a character. And then, of course, again, Jesse Eisenberg. So there's a good, solid number of people that are playing strong roles. The question is, will the writing be able to hold up to all the hype that the film's getting? And with it being a Warner Brothers film, I'm not sure it will. But we'll see what happens. Which two characters from DC and Marvel do you want to see in a movie together? I want to see a Red Lantern Kyle Rayner going against the Incredible Hulk. Like, that's what I want to see. That would be a beastly fight, and I think it'd be amazing to see it all go down. Yes, The Town is amazing. The Town's one of the best movies that I think he's ever done. It's freaking amazing. Um, How long did it take for me to animate my Draw Your Life? See, that's the funny thing. I started that at about 11 p.m. and then I finished it around 8. So it took me about 9 hours to animate that whole thing. It took a little while, and that's just stick figures. Like, it took me a while. So, Nightwing versus Daredevil. Nightwing. Daredevil's got training from like Stick, guys like that, and he's adept in martial arts. He's had a lot of reboots, a lot of continuity changes. Writers have changed up what he's been capable of, and so on and so forth. And so, depending on what writer you're talking, okay, let's take Frank Miller Daredevil. I'd say Nightwing would still win because Nightwing has all the experience, the detective experience of Batman, which Daredevil doesn't have. Plus, he has all the combat training, which Daredevil does have. So I think that pretty quickly, that Nightwing would be able to sniff out the weakness of Daredevil and go from there. So, will we see Adam Warlock versus Sentry in the MCU? Oh, I doubt it. I doubt we'll see Sentry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It'd be cool if we did, but I doubt we will. I don't see a reason why they'd introduce this character. Good morning, Jason. Can I sing for you guys? No, I'm not going to sing. Have I read any of the supernatural stuff in DC? Animal Man and Swamp Thing, for example. No, I haven't. I know Swamp Thing's really popular among DC fans. I know that there's some niche groups in there. Justice League Dark, I think, is a really popular one. I haven't read any of those. I'd love to. I think it'd be fun to read a lot of those stories, but no, I haven't actually read any of them. So he answered me. It amazes me that you guys um, get so shocked when I answer you. Like, this is a Q and A. Of course I'm going to answer you. Like, I try to answer you guys as often as I can in the comment section or whenever. The problem is you guys leave so many comments. It's difficult to answer everybody. Um, did I watch all of Marvel's Daredevil episodes? Yes, I did, and it was fantastic. The Kingpin speech in the end, the religious story from the Bible, was amazing. Like that right there solidified my love for his character. I said, okay, Vincent D'Onofrio is the Kingpin now. Like, there's no if, ands, or buts. Like, he has solidified his role as the Kingpin. Um, who will win, Flash versus Quicksilver? Oh, the Flash, definitely. The Flash broke time. Like, he literally jumped through time and changed everything. Quicksilver just runs really fast. I guess with a power boost from the Terrigen crystals, he can break time or he can travel through time, but he's never done anything on par with what the Flash can do. Rob, you're kind of a celebrity, not by a long shot. I wish. I wish I was on. I wish I had celebrity status, but not by a long shot. I just make YouTube videos, and I hang out with you guys every Sunday. Hey Rob, where do you think the MCU will head after Infinity War? It looks like that may be hard to top as a cinematic event. See, that's the same thing I've been saying this whole time. Like I mean, they swung for the fences. They said, okay, like Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet, basically. That's a huge story to pull out. I have no earthly clue where they're going to go from there. I've been saying all this time that I've been saying all this time that what's going to happen is Captain America 3 is going to start Civil War, and Civil War is going to be an undercurrent leading all the way through Infinity War. And then once Infinity War ends, the whole next phase is going to be Civil War. I've been saying that the entire time, and that's what it should be. But, because I mean, Marvel's really good at playing the long game. We've seen throughout their movies that they're really good at introducing things and building things up. I mean, everything we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far, and keep this in mind, guys, every single thing we've seen is leading up to Infinity War. That's it. Like, Infinity War is the big show. That's the big fireworks display. With Captain America, we got the Cosmic Cube. With Thor, we got the God, what was that stuff called? The Ether, which is basically the reality gem. In Avengers, we got either the Soul Gem or the Mind Gem, and the Staff of Loki. We had all these different gems, and we had the Power Gem in Guardians of the Galaxy. They're all being slowly introduced so that when Infinity War comes around, Marvel can say, okay, Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers, the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, probably the Punisher, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, like all these characters, just popping up and saying, okay, like the entire cast of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury, I mean, it's going to be a huge blockbuster. I mean, that's going to be the thing. I mean, Age of Ultron is going to be amazing in the box offices. I guarantee you it's going to shatter the records of the first Avengers, and it's probably going to be the number two or possibly even number one highest grossing film of all time. I mean, I think it's going to blow Titanic and whatever the movie was with the Blue Giants out of the water. I mean, I think it's going to take it over. It might not, but I think it will. But Infinity War is going to top all of that because everybody wants to see how all this is going to end. Okay, so speech done. Do I watch Arrow and the Flash? Yes. Oh my God. So the season finale, I think that was a season finale of Flash. Was that not mind blowing? Or not Flash, of Arrow. That was mind blowing, man. Like, that was crazy. Have I met Stan Lee? No, I haven't, but I've always wanted to. Hey Rob, what do you think about Deadpool's movie? I'm excited. A rated R Deadpool film? It's going to be amazing. I think that's what Deadpool fans have been wanting for years is a rated R Deadpool movie, and we're finally getting it. So I'm really excited to see what happens. I mean, this is basically the ability for Fox to say, okay, like let's just go ham. Let's just throw shit at the wall. I mean, with a rated R, with an R rating, we get gratuitous violence. We get all kinds of swearing. We get the Deadpool we've been hoping for all this time. So I'm excited. Do I think Marvel would do anything significant with Blade? I don't think so. I think that with Blade and Ghost Rider, those franchises are just beyond help. I mean, Wesley Snipes did an awesome job in Blade 1, Blades 2 and 3, and I think maybe there was even a fourth one. Those were absolute garbage. There's no coming back from that. And so there's, he pretty much just like destroyed the franchise with all the movies after Blade 1. With Ghost Rider, that speaks for itself. If they did that, those things are so tainted. They couldn't come back from that. Um, let's see. Do I think there will be a new Wolverine or just kill him off completely? I think there'll be probably like a new Wolverine. I think we'll get X-Men 92, and that'll be the return of Wolverine. They're basically going to bring back 90s Wolverine. That would be the smart move because the current version of Wolverine just wasn't popular. People were ready to see him go. They didn't really care. And that makes sense because Wolverine really hasn't. The height of Wolverine's popularity was in the 1990s. That was the height of its popularity. Fatal Attractions, when Magneto ripped the adamantium out of Wolverine's body, like that was the height of Wolverine's popularity. You know, I guess Savage Wolverine or Feral Wolverine, rather. That was it. After that, it just kind of began to slump because there were no stories that mattered anymore. Um, I think that with X Men '92, we'll see that Wolverine come back, or at least Wolverine from the animated series, and that was the Wolverine that a lot of us grew up with, and so that's the Wolverine we want to see in the comics, and that's what we'll get. And so I think that's going to be the return of Wolverine to the Marvel landscape, which I'm not upset about. Makes sense. Couldn't Blade and Ghost Rider have a Netflix series? I hope not. Blade, I wouldn't mind. Ghost Rider just needs to stay gone forever. Uh, do I think Samuel Jackson will still be in the MCU after Ultron? I think so. I mean, Nick Fury has been a mainstay in Marvel. See, that's one of the things a lot of people don't know. For those of you guys who aren't familiar, who haven't seen my Nick Fury video, Nick Fury showed up in Marvel Comics in the 1960s, and then I think in the 70s, Marvel revamped his character, made him a CIA spy, made him the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then he's been a mainstay ever since. Like, Nick Fury's always behind the scenes, or at least up until Original Sin. He was always behind the scenes. He was always there. He always knew what was going on, even if he didn't have all the facts. He always knew something was up. And so I would love to see his character stay around. He doesn't need to be in every movie. They just need to, like, make references to him. And that would be a great kind of nod to the continuity of Nick Fury in Marvel Comics. But nonetheless. What's going on, Robin Carney? Yes, I am so looking forward to Heroes coming back. I loved Heroes up until the first season ended, and then it was crap. The writer's strike is what destroyed the second season. But no, I was really excited. I'm really excited to see what they do. I think Heroes coming back. I don't think anybody else is coming back though. I think maybe Matt Parkman might be coming back, but I think that's pretty much it. There's only like a couple characters from the original run that are returning. I think Zachary Quinto said he's not coming back as Sylar, but I'm not really sure. Which makes sense. I think he's ready to move on from that. I think that at this point he's established himself as a person who's able to do more than just play Sylar with the Star Trek films, and so I think that he's looking to move away. So. Do I think we'll see a Punisher Netflix series? I really hope so. I'm really hoping that Marvel is looking at the dark nature of Daredevil, and they're gauging it to decide whether or not they should do a Punisher series. Now, at this point, I mean, Daredevil's had rave reviews. I think what they need to do though is give it some time, give it a while for this honeymoon period to sink in, give it a while for this honeymoon period to go away, and then people to go back, and then the real critics will start coming out, the real opinions will start coming out, and we'll start to see ratings shift. I think that at that point they'll really start to gauge it. But here's the kicker: Daredevil's really dark right now in the Netflix series. The Punisher would be even darker than that. You're talking about, I mean, just outright murder. If you guys really want to do, and we might do a video about this at some point in the future. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Secret Wars after Secret Wars, whatever. But at some point, I would love to cover Punisher Max. Punisher Max is the quintessential line of Punisher stories. Anybody who wants to get into Punisher, who asks me what Punisher story should they read, I say Punisher Max. Always Punisher Max. Those are the only Punisher stories worth reading. I mean, anything besides that is it's kind of decent. But Punisher Max changed the game for Frank Castle. It made him a darker character. It made him a more sadistic character. He was more murderous. It was Marvel's adult line of comic books, and he fit in perfect. So. Let's see. What do I think about Jared Leto playing the Joker? I think Jared Leto was a great choice. I think Jared Leto really established himself as a solid actor with Requiem for a Dream. The problem is he was playing a drug addict. Now it'd be very easy for him to kind of tie into those roots and to play somebody with a dark past, stepping into a sinister role. I think he could do that pretty well. But Jared Leto is a great actor. He does great films. Who would win, Lex Luthor versus Tony Stark? Oh, Lex Luthor, hands down. There's no competition there. You're talking about, I mean, Lex Luthor. You're talking about a guy with the intellect of Reed Richards and the resources of Tony Stark. That, I mean, there's no competition there. Let's see. Rob, do you think they could use Doctor Strange to link properties such as Ghost Rider and Blade based on its supernatural elements? You guys are all about Ghost Rider and Blade. I don't understand. I don't understand why you guys love Ghost Rider and Blade so much. They could, but the problem is, I guess with Ghost Rider, you could probably do that because Ghost Rider specifically dealt with demons. With I guess you could link him in with Doctor Strange. But keep in mind, Doctor Strange was really more of a character that dealt with other dimensions, with kooky dimensions, not just hell. I mean, not just the realm of Mephisto, like kooky dimensions, kooky out there, weird stuff. That's what made his character so popular. Is you basically had kids in college doing acid when his character was first introduced to Marvel Comics. So they were like, "Oh, this is so cool, man! This is so far out. Look at these crazy designs." That was the fan base of Doctor Strange when he first showed up. And then once that fan base went away, he just kind of withered away, and it was like, whatever, Doctor Strange. But nonetheless, I think it'd be easier to do it with Ghost Rider. With Blade, not so much, because Blade deals with vampires. I don't really see how you could link Doctor Strange to vampires, maybe saying that vampires come from a dimension, or the vampire came from a dimension and then spawned all these other vampires in the Marvel mainstream universe, but I think that'd be kind of a stretch to do it with Blade. Do I think Cloak and Dagger could be Inhumans? Definitely. So here's the thing, guys. With the current run of Marvel Comics, Inhumans are a blank slate. I mean, they can make anybody Inhumans. It's basically like mutants now. I mean, all Marvel had to do is they had to say, well, we want to make a character who has this set of powers, but we don't know how to introduce their story. Mutants. Bam. They were 15 years old, the X gene activated, done and done. And they just kind of go from there. Inhumans are the same way. They say, well, we want to introduce a character, but we're not really sure how we're going to do it. Well, inhumanity. They'll say infinity. They'll say that when Black Bolt set off the Terrigen mist spread throughout the world, and bam, suddenly this person's latent inhuman powers manifested. They came out of their cocoon, and now they have mind control powers. And, it's kind of a blank slate. They can do pretty much anything, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, what you guys are seeing, see, this is the cool thing. Those of you guys who are just now getting into the Inhumans, what you're seeing now, this was the X-Men in the 90s. This is how all those X-Men started popping up left and right. They just wanted to make new characters. They just wrote them in. They said an X gene. This is exactly the same thing that we saw in the 1990s with the X-Men. What you see right now with the Inhuman event, or I guess Uncanny Inhumans now. This is pretty much it. So this is it's really kind of cool. Everything repeats itself, and it's really exciting to see it all happen. What's going on, old man Hogan? I'm glad to see you here again. You're always here, which is cool. Um, let's see. Yeah, I'll do a reaction video to it. I mean, we'll see what's up. Um, what is your appreciation of Daredevil as a comic book character? Because you normally don't like weaker characters. I really don't like weaker characters. Daredevil's cool because of his enhanced senses, and he represents the capability of blind people, which is cool and everything. I mean, throw some respect out there for the blind. I think it's necessary. But for his character, I mean, it's that's the problem that Marvel has. See, the cool thing about DC is you've got powerful characters, you've got solid characters, but all somebody has to do is just shoot Wally West with a bullet when he's not looking, and he's dead. That's it. Wally West is gone. There's no more Wally West. Nightwing can be shot with a bullet. Batman, Green Arrow, I mean, all those characters can just be killed by a. I mean, that's all it would take is Deathstroke, just like camped out 1,000 yards away, while Nightwing, Dick Grayson's shopping through a grocery store, and just at the right time, that trigger gets pulled, and Nightwing's done. He's out of continuity. That's all it takes. With Marvel, you don't really have that luxury. You've got so many ridiculously powerful characters, and it doesn't really leave room for the smaller guys. Here's a really good analogy. Any of you guys who watched wrestling back in the 1990s, you guys know that the WCW showed up, and WCW said, okay, NWO. Well, the problem that WCW had is they had so many huge powerhouses. You had Hulk Hogan, you had Kevin Nash, you had Scott Hall, you had The Macho Man, Randy Savage, Sting was already a huge name in WCW at that time. All the smaller guys, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, the Luchadors, they didn't get nearly as much respect as the bigger guys. They couldn't command the higher salaries or anything, and so as a result, they kind of got squeezed out. That's the problem with Marvel. Is there's so much love and so much interest and curiosity for Galactus and the cosmic entities and all that kind of stuff that people say, well, Daredevil's kind of cool, but they don't really give that much of a thought about him. But I guess they do now because of the Netflix series. How do I think the Black Panther movie will be? I'm kind of curious about that myself. WCW did own WWF in the '90s. Yeah, it's like they crushed them in the '90s. Um, I was a Sting fan through and through, and Goldberg was amazing. But nonetheless, with Black Panther, I'm really hoping they do his character justice because Black Panther in the comics is like the third smartest person on the planet. You've got like Doctor Doom and Reed Richards who changed one and two. It depends on who's writing them. Sometimes Reed Richards is the smartest person, sometimes Doctor Doom is the smartest person, but the top two spots belong to them. And then you have Black Panther, and then you have Reed Richards. I'm sorry, you have Tony Stark. You got Peter Parker. You got everybody else after that. You got the leader, different people like that. Um, I'm kind of curious to see how it's all going to play out. I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with this character. If they're going to do him justice, I think they will. I think that Marvel knows there's so much riding on the success of their introduction of one of the most prominent African American superheroes in the history, or I guess African superheroes in the history of Marvel Comics, that they need to do his character justice. I was hoping they don't get swept up in their own hype, but it seems like they're keeping a clear head. It seems like they're keeping their nose clean. And so I think we'll see a pretty solid Black Panther film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Um, do I still watch wrestling? Not by a long shot. A reading list from Marvel Comics starters. There's no starter reading list from Marvel Comics. Okay, I'll tell you what. When this live stream finishes, in the description, I'll post a link to a subreddit, or to the Marvel subreddit, to a comment I made where I had linked out basically, here's some stories to get you started. Um, and that should be able to get you in the right direction. Let's see. I have the complete opposite opinion on that, Rob. I find all the DC characters to be limitless, godlike people. Even Batman, who apparently is only human, has the intellect of God. That's true. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Gerard. Do you think that Marvel will? Oops, we got to scroll back up. Um, do I think Marvel will? Where was this question? Oh, there we go. Do I think Marvel will focus on the street level characters for its Netflix series, or they will make it more of a mix? I think they're going to focus on street level characters in the Netflix series. I think that's the entire basis is to keep it street level. I think that in the movies, that's where we're gonna see the big names. We're gonna see the big thing, and so Marvel's basically going to be painting like this more broad picture where they're going to be saying, yes, there's all this stuff going on. Yes, like Loki's out there and he's wreaking havoc, and yes, the Guardians of the Galaxy are trying to stop Thanos, and yes, Thanos still trying to capture the Infinity Gems. But we've got Daredevil, and we got Jessica Jones, and we've got Luke Cage and Iron Fist stopping like the street level criminals, and so it reminds us just how big in scope Marvel is. So let's see, who's better in my eye, War Machine or Falcon? That's a tough one. Um, I think they're pretty equal. James Rhodes played a pretty passable Iron Man in his time, and Sam Wilson's a great new Captain America. He's great in that role now. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't think one's better than the other. I think they're actually pretty even. Um, do I think any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe characters will show up in Daredevil? Oh, definitely. I think we'll see at some point. Maybe like he'll meet with Steve Rogers. Meet with Tony Stark or somebody. And maybe he'll train with Steve Rogers for a time or something like that. But I think we'll see some crossover. I think we'll see some crossover between the movies, Agents of Shield, and the Netflix series eventually. I don't know how long down the road we will, but I think we will. Let's see. After the Defenders, Netflix should do a season each for. Oops, let's scroll back up. Do a season each for Moon Knight, Punisher, Ghost Rider, and Blade, then crossover into Thunderbolts or something. I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess they could, but I don't know. Um, Hey Rob, how big is your comic collection? And do you buy them in paper or online? I buy them online, and right now it's something on the order of 176 gigabytes, something like that. It's pretty massive. Um, will I do a week two convergence video? Yeah, I need to. I actually forgot to. We were talking about that earlier, and I was kind of saying that I'd lost interest in convergence. It just didn't really hit me as well as I thought it would. Some of the stories are just kind of like meh, but I don't know. Vision versus Martian Manhunter. They're equal. I mean, they're basically duplicates of each other. Or I guess Vision's a copy of Martian. I don't remember which one came first. I think Martian Manhunter came first, but Vision. Either way, they're basically a copy. So, ban me, ban me, ban. Well, I mean, if you want me to, yeah, sure, I can ban you. Uh, you asked for it. You're banned. What kind of an idiot shows up in the live stream and asks somebody to ban them? Um, let's see. I think a good starter point for Marvel is just go from Avengers, and I mean, okay, that's a good point. If what you're really wanting to do is to catch up on to know where to start to get ready for Secret Wars, I mean, just start with Jonathan Hickman's run of Avengers and New Avengers, and that's it. I mean, that's really all you need. So, um, let's see. Why am I so awesome? I don't think I'm that awesome. I just make videos. Rob, Reed Richards versus Batman. Who wins? Since they are really intellectually advanced. Their intelligence is probably on the same level, but Batman has detective skills and Reed Richards doesn't. But Reed Richards can stretch, so whew, I don't know. Um, Honestly, I think it ends up being a draw. To be quite frank, um, is it wrong that I mainly buy physical comics based on the art cover? Not at all. The cover, like, well, not every cover is done by the artist of the actual content in the comic. Sometimes you have cover artists that just work on the covers. That's it, and then the content is totally different than what you see on the cover. It really kind of depends. Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, covers draw me in. You know, the cover is catching. If the cover pops, you know, then I'll buy it, or at least I'll look through it and decide if I want to buy it. Well, I guess nowadays, yeah, I guess you can. Yeah, I'd look through it and decide if I want to buy it or not. But um, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's buy your comics the way that makes you happy. You know, life's too short to live by somebody else's standards. So, do what makes you happy. Richards has to be smarter than Batman. Maybe. I'm not really sure. Um, let's see. The smartest Marvel characters. What do I think? Okay. Well, number one and two is Reed Richards, Doctor Doom. You can decide which where they're ranked at between one and two. Number three is Black Panther. We know that. From there, it just kind of breaks down. I'd say number four is Tony Stark. Number five is Peter Parker. Number six is the leader. Number seven is uh, probably Bruce Banner. Number eight is I don't know. At that point, it just really kind of becomes arbitrary. Um, let's see. Do you think Netflix characters will be included in Infinity War? Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. Uh, good morning. Good morning, Amath. Do you think Century could have beaten World War Hulk? No, I mean, they fought to a standstill. Like, they fought to the point where they both depowered and went back to their human forms. So that was it. Oh, we have a troll in the chat. That's what that is. They keep switching accounts. Okay, well, I mean, hell, man, I don't care to ban every one of their accounts. I guess I could just like ban their IP address from the chat, but that's a hassle. um, are there any dumb characters in Marvel DC? Oh yeah, definitely in Marvel. There was one character, I don't remember what his name was. Oh yeah, Hank Pym's super smart too. There was one guy who had fought the X-Men. He was able to make force fields, and he actually suffocated inside of his own force field. There's the Orb. He's an extremely pointless and stupid character. In DC, I'm not sure. I'm not as familiar with DC characters as I am with Marvel, but let's see. Peter Parker is a lot smarter than most give him credit. Oh yeah, he's extremely smart. I mean, after that, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like it comes down to a point where you have characters in Marvel Comics when it comes to intelligence, like they know everything. Like Apocalypse is in the top 10 smartest people because he's been around for so long. He studied all kind of sciences. But like Doctor Doom's made a time machine. Nobody else has made a time machine, but except for Doctor Doom, with regards to Earthbound characters. Now sometimes that's because they don't need a time machine. They can just jump through time. Case in point, Legion could do that. But you have villains like Mr. Sinister, but Mr. Sinister is a genius in the realm of genetics and human physiology and not much else. He's not a genius when it comes to like mechanical engineering or something like that. Tony Stark is a genius when it comes to engineering, but he's not a genius when it comes to like biology. It's just not what he specializes in. So that's why it just kind of really becomes arbitrary at that point because it depends on what character you like most or what's more important to you. So. Uh, any characters who can avoid taking damage completely? Yes, there's actually a character named Abyss, she was created by Jonathan Hickman. She's in the current run of Avengers and New Avengers, and she exists in a gaseous form. Therefore, she's totally impervious to harm. It's impossible to actually harm her. And I'd say the Vision when he makes himself transparent, or I guess like when he removes the solidification of his body. I don't know. It's 2:30 in the morning to think about such complex terms. Crutcher Creel is awesome. Like he is a super powerful character, and that's the problem. Like he's woefully underused in Marvel Comics, but if he can touch a material, he can become that material. There's no limit to what it is that he's capable of duplicating. So he's extremely powerful. Kang and Doom are such good villains. Yes, they are. Kang the Conqueror was a great villain back in his time. He's not really relevant now anymore, but he was a solid villain back in the day. Beast is very intelligent. Yes, he is. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it becomes arbitrary. It depends on who you like the most and so on. Are there any comic characters that I hate? Yes, I hate Spider Man. I do not like his character. Did I see the Sony emails that were leaked when Kevin Feige gave them pointers on the Amazing Spider-Man 2? Yes, that was hilarious. And that was the current coffee that I'm drinking is the House Blend by Starbucks. I actually bought it at Kroger, and it's really good. That had to be such a shot to the pride of Sony. Like I think when that leaked out, Sony was totally embarrassed. Like they had to have been humiliated. Like they were basically being made a fool of. They're like they Sony was basically what that email indicated to anybody who read it was that Sony was so incapable of creating a version of Spider-Man that anybody liked. They had to go to Marvel to ask for help. And Kevin Feige was like, "Okay, we'll hold your hand and guide you through this movie." That's basically what that email says, which is true. Like Sony's made really shitty Spider-Man movies. They pretty much all sucked as far as I'm concerned. I mean, none of them were interesting to me. I guess the original, Spider-Man, with Tobey Maguire, that one was good, and I guess the Amazing Spider-Man one was good. But aside from that, I mean, they apparently, if what that parody video said was true, which I actually looked it up, and apparently it was a concept being kicked around. They were considering having a story where Aunt May was a secret agent before she met Uncle Ben. Like that tells you the state of the minds of the people at Sony. That tells you like how far gone they were. And that's the funny thing. Crazy people don't think they're crazy. They think everybody else is crazy. And that's the problem that Sony had. Sony was so far gone from being able to make a good Spider-Man film. I guess as far as they were concerned, the problem wasn't that the films were bad. The problem is that nobody else knew what a good Spider-Man film was. Until finally, I guess they got enough crap and people said, okay, yeah, Spider-Man 3, that stupid emo dance. Like that tells you everything you need to know. Rob, what is your favorite X-Men crossover? Oh, Mutant Massacre, hands down. Mutant Massacre is a classic crossover. That was the first time we saw X Factor, X-Men, New Mutants. Yeah, we saw them all cross over into a single story. Yeah, it was hilarious in that thing. They were like, like they could make the old bat one of the Avengers. All right, Japeth. You have a good night. Hello, Rob. Do you have any predictions for the upcoming Netflix series in terms of what they'll pull from the comics? You guys are so caught on this Netflix thing. That is the talk of the town. Is this Netflix series? Um, in terms of what they'll pull from the comics, I think that I don't remember if it was Sal or if it was Joel. or maybe it was Mr. Sunday Movies, but somebody had a really good idea where they could basically focus on the different writers of Deadpool, or I'm sorry, of Daredevil over time. So we can get like Mark Waid Deadpool, we can get Brian Michael Bendis Deadpool, we can get Kevin Smith Deadpool, we can get Jeff Loeb Deadpool, which would be a really, or not Deadpool, Daredevil, which would be a really cool series of stories. So, sorry for spamming. Don't be sorry, just don't do it, and don't type in caps either. Um, let's see. Do I read Image Comics? Yes, I read The Walking Dead. I haven't read Spawn in years. Like, I'm so far removed from Spawn's continuity, I wouldn't even have any idea where to start right now. Um, who's my favorite sidekick? Bucky Barnes. Bucky Barnes was the best sidekick. And seeing him return under Ed Brubaker's run was amazing. Like, that was such a great story. Um, do I plan to do any indie comics videos? I'd love to. I'd love to do like Saga. You know, I'd love to do The Walking Dead. I'd love to do a lot of those. But right now, I mean, it's all Convergence and Secret Wars. So at some point along the line, I will. It's just not at this moment. Um, let's see. Rob, do you think they'll bring the? Oops. Let's scroll back up. Do I think they'll bring the High Evolutionary back? And do you enjoy the character as much as I do? The High Evolutionary is all right. I mean, he had Counter Earth, which was kind of cool, but I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't know. um, oh yeah, definitely Bucky Barnes over Robin. Um, I'm not really sure about the. I mean, the High Evolutionary wasn't really relevant to me. They tried to bring him back. With no, they didn't. It was yeah, they did. I think they tried to bring him back with Silver Surfer's solo run. Maybe it was AIM. Somebody took away Norrin Rad's Silver Surfer powers and restored him back to his human form. Um, I don't remember if that. I think that was a High Evolutionary, and people were just kind of like, well, yeah, whatever, and that was it. So, um, please unban me. I am sorry. I am a kid in Singapore. Okay, anybody else who starts typing in caps, I'm going to start banning you because I'm getting tired of seeing people type in caps when I'm explicitly asking you guys not to. So, um, let's see. Favorite DC character? Probably Red Hood. I love the Red Hood character. I love Jason Todd. I think he's a solid character. Um, can I make a video explaining Marvel's power levels? I mean, I have the power classes explained. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. Scott Lang versus Hank Pym. Oh, definitely Hank Pym. Hank Pym can take on mass. He can grow to any size. He can also shrink to any size. So he's certainly the more powerful of the two. Um, High Evolutionary was in Hickman's Avengers. When was he in Hickman's Avengers? Um, Do I think the Mandarin's rings will play further in the MCU? I'm not sure. I think it's just kind of a. I think it's kind of a toss-up. I think that the Mandarin was really more of a nod, but I think that with the reviews that Iron Man 3 got, I think that Marvel's kind of backing away from that idea, and they're kind of saying, okay, like we're not going to go with that anymore. Um, let's see. Do I think the Daredevil messed up with Ben Urich's storyline? Oh, definitely. Yeah, they really screwed that up because Civil War would have been a great place to keep Ben Urich going. Um, which movie am I more excited for, Ant-Man or Deadpool? Oh, Deadpool, definitely, definitely more excited for Deadpool. What character would benefit the world more today than any other character? Oh, okay. What character would benefit the world more today than any other character? Reed Richards, definitely. Reed Richards would be able to usher in like this new era of peace in the world using science, technology, different things like that. I don't think anybody else could do that. Um, will I do in game? Probably after Convergence. After Convergence. We'll probably finish Night of the Owls, and then Death of the Family, and then do Batman in game. Um, let's see. I lost my spot. Is the Rage of Ultron canon or what? We don't know. We have no clue, and Marvel won't answer. Marvel will not answer distinctly with any answer to basically, like, anytime anybody asks Marvel, is Rage of Ultron canon, they're beating around the bush. They're like, well, I mean, it could be, if you want it to be. Like, that's basically the answer they're giving everybody. So I have no idea. Good morning. Good morning, Abdul. Good morning, Rob. Do you think, do you read any Japanese manga? No, I don't read any Japanese manga at all. Um, what power ring would I wear? Oh, God, that's a good question. What power ring would I wear? Probably the Red Lantern ring. I think it'd just be awesome to possess so much rage. Or I don't mean not, like to hurt people with. I think it'd just be cool to have so much power. Okay, here's a question. What lantern ring would you guys have? Like, if you could wear any lantern ring, what would it be? Uh, Thor or Superman? Hmm. Probably Superman. I think pre-Flashpoint Superman is far more capable than Thor is. Um, what do you think the Black Sky was in Daredevil episode with Stick? Some people think the kid may have been an Inhuman. I know in the Ultimate Comics, Stick had a war with vampires. Oh, okay. Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I was kind of wondering that before, but I got so caught up in everything else, which was a great diversion. They really diverted away from that pretty well. It was a great kind of thing where they could leave that out in the field. Um, I would say, I think Black Sky is probably an Inhuman. I think that makes sense. Um, God, all kinds of answers: blue, black, white, orange ring, green power ring, the yellow ring. Godzilla with a red lantern ring. Imagine the havoc he would unleash. My God, he'd destroy the planet. It'd be absolutely crazy. Kid Apocalypse's Black Sky. Wouldn't that be crazy if that was Evan from Wolverine's X Men? That'd be nuts. The Brown Ring. uh, let's see. How do you expect the battle with Thanos to play out in the MCU? I doubt the studio will reduce their powers to being Adam Warlock's pawns. Um, I mean, it'd be a great thing if they did, but I'm not really. I kind of agree with you. I don't think that'll happen. I think that Adam Warlock will like take over the role of Captain America basically and like lead everybody into the battle. Um, but they're not going to stand a chance against Thanos. I mean, Thanos, even without the Infinity Gauntlet, would lay waste to every single member of the Avengers as they stand right now. The only person who might be able to stand a chance is the Incredible Hulk, but I doubt that. I mean, the Incredible Hulk would probably get absolutely smashed by Thanos. Um, and the whole reason is because with the Incredible Hulk, you got to remember, like, he has a base strength. Let's say, for example, the Incredible Hulk's base strength is 100. Thanos is like 3 or 400, meaning the Incredible Hulk would have to work his way up to being able to compete with Thanos, and by that point, Thanos would just smash the shit out of him and leave him there. So, um, how truly powerful is Superman Prime? As far as I understand, Superman Prime is like godlike powerful. Is capable of doing almost anything, but I'm not 100% sure. The closest character Marvel has to Superman Prime is probably Starbrand, because Starbrand, no, I'm sorry, Kenneth Connor, no, Kevin Connor, I think it is. Um, he has the power of the Starbrand, and he can do anything. Like his power is limited only by his imagination. So that's probably the closest we have. Um, let's see, Superman versus Thanos. Oh, Superman definitely. I mean, definitely. Um, Good Fantastic Four reading. That's a good call. Jonathan Hickman's run of Fantastic Four, Future Foundation, is really, really good. I'd definitely go with there. Um, Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Redacted. If I could have lunch with any superhero or supervillain, who would it be? That's a good one. Um, I would probably have lunch with hmm, any superhero or supervillain. I'd have lunch with probably Doctor Doom. It'd be the most dramatic lunch ever. It would be absolutely amazing. Um, let's see. Black Bolt versus the Hulk. Who wins? Oh, Black Bolt would destroy the Hulk. No questions asked. What was the first comic you ever got? Please answer. The first comic I ever got was Sovereign 7. It was a DC comic. My dad bought it for me. So, um, Lunch with Lex Luthor. Lunch with Doom. How do I think Nova, Richard Rider, would play into the MCU if they do bring him in? He would play in pretty well. Um, he'd be a great addition. The problem is they would need to include, like, it would have to be like Annihilation Conquest, Thanos Imperative, Richard Rider. It'd have to be that version of Richard Rider. But the problem is that version of Richard Rider is almost identical to Star-Lord. And so people would be like, who's this? Like, why is this guy a copy of Star-Lord? But imagine two Star-Lords running around. That would be hilarious. So I think it'd be kind of cool. I don't think they'll, I don't think we'll see that. I don't think that we'll see him in any real capacity in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think it'd still be kind of cool to see that character. Uh, because that's how Doctor Doom enters a room. Like a peasant. uh, who is Lady Thor? I don't know at the moment, but although I'm actually not caught up on Thor, which I need to be. I need to get caught up on Thor. But no, I'm not sure. We probably won't find out until Secret War starts. Uh, could Franklin Richards give Thanos a run for his money? Yeah, I mean, he could obliterate Thanos, just phase him out of existence, and that'd be it. Um, okay, I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then I'm going to bounce off here. I need to clean my apartment today, and then tomorrow I'm going to work on Star Brand to have it up on Tuesday. Let's see. Rob, do you think that the Vision in the MCU will be created? Uh, oops, will be created of spare parts from Jim Hammond, like in the comics. I don't know. See, for those of you guys who don't know what hippopotamus is talking about, Jim Hammond was the name of the original Human Torch. I'm pretty sure from way back in the 1930s, 1940s. He was a cyborg. That's what Vision was made out of. They haven't introduced that, so I think the Vision will probably be made out of spare parts from Stark armor, but I'm not really sure. Or it could just be unique parts that were just kind of brought together. Um, Rob, I hate you, unban me. Well, you weren't banned in the first place, but you are now. No one says they hate me on my YouTube channel and gets away with it. Uh, let's see. Which lantern ring do you think are least? Do I think I am least suited to? Oh, definitely the Death Ring, the Black Lantern ring. um, and I think the White Lantern ring is just too much power. I think the ability to control life and death is just way too much power for anybody to have. Um, let's see. Did I hear that the Hulk might be in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie to replace Groot until he grows out of his pot? I have no idea. But I want to see Baby Groot being carried around because Baby Groot is amazing. Man. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, KJ. Can you say "Do you bleed" in your best Batman voice? Do you bleed? It's not a very good Batman voice, I don't think. Um, Hungry Yeti. Hungry Yeti loves me. Hey Rob, did you see the Batman versus Superman teaser? Yeah, no. I was gonna say yes, I have. I saw the sneak peek, but I haven't actually seen the regular teaser. I wanted to do a reaction video to it, but I don't know. Um, Quasar Wendell Vaughn versus Quasar Phyla-Vell. Uh, Honestly, I never really cared about Quasar that much. Probably Phyla-Vell because I think she was a lesbian, which was cool. Um, let's see. If you could permanently kill any one Avenger, which would it be? Oh God. If I could permanently kill any one Avenger, which would it be? Probably Hawkeye. He's useless. He can shoot arrows, but that's about it. But anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and bring this one to an end. This was a great Q&A session, but I gotta do some cleaning up. I need to get some breakfast in me. I got all kinds of stuff I need to do today. Got to do laundry and all sorts of stuff. But I'm gonna keep poking around on buying a computer and kind of see what I end up with. But like I said, it'll probably be in the next few months, and it's gonna be completely proof. Oh God, we need to do our giveaway. Yeah, we can't forget our giveaway. Um, okay, so who are we gonna give this Civil War omnibus away to? Um, hmm. Let's see. Hmm. 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 Well, it's got to be somebody who lives in the states. Uh, let's see. I don't know. Okay, if you live in the United States, say just type in like United, just type in U.S. in the chat. That way, I know who lives in the states. Uh, I follow you on Twitter. Yeah, the one that I gave away before, the Cable and Deadpool omnibus that I gave away, um, was it cost me $100 to ship it to the guy who lives in Australia. So yeah, that sucks. Uh, God, so many people typing in USA. Jeez. Okay. Um, let's go through here. All right, we'll send it to Jason Massey. That guy wins. So send me an email, rob@marvelexplained.com, and yeah, I'll make sure you get it. So anyway, guys, we're gonna end this. Congratulations to Jason Massey for winning, and yeah, so the Civil War omnibus, you get the whole kit and caboodle. So look it up on Amazon, and that's what you'll be getting. And yeah, so um, geez, so many people. Anyway, I'm gonna bounce off here, guys, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.